On this episode, we attend Walk to School Day in Olney, Maryland. We meet a transportation engineer with Salt Lake City. We talk with the Utah Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator. Finally, we learn about the New York Bicycling Coalition in Albany. Stay tuned. We're in Olney, Maryland, talking with Linda McDaniel, who's principal of Brook Grove Elementary. It's the first Wednesday in October. What's been going on this morning?
Well, today we've celebrated International Walk to School Day. It's been a great morning to see all the boys and girls walking this morning.
How long have you been involved with Walk to School Day or participating in it?
We've been here involved in this at least 5 years at Brook Grove.
And before you were here at Brook Grove?
I was principal of an elementary school in California, and we participated, I believe, in the first one that was in 1998. So it's been a great experience being able to continue walking to school on this very special day.
What do the children get out of Walk to School Day?
Well, I think first and foremost it promotes healthiness, the importance of walking as a physical activity. They also are able to talk with their friends as they walk to school, so it's a great socialization activity. And I believe it just develops a lifelong habit for the importance of getting some exercise during the course of your everyday life.
How many of your students live within walking distance of the school?
Well, actually, about 95% of our students live within walking distance to the school. So we are a walking school. We have one bus that comes from one neighborhood with about 25 students, and the other 450 are able to walk to school.
How many actually do walk?
Not very many on a regular basis. I would say maybe about 50% of them on a regular day. But on this very special day, we do keep a survey to see how many students walked or rode a bicycle to school today.
What on other days of the year when a lot of parents are driving their children to school, what sort of problems does that create for you?
Well, there's that old traffic congestion. And if we could encourage more parents to let their children walk to school by forming some safe neighborhoods, walking neighborhoods, it would really help our environment too, where we wouldn't have as many cars driving to school and that pollution that it creates. So it would be great if we could get more parents to really form those walking clubs within the neighborhood, and one or two parents identified on a block watching the children as they walk to school in the mornings.
And for children who don't get to walk to school because they take the bus or their parents insist on driving them, are there other things they can do to get walking in?
Yes, we actually have a program during recess every day. It's the Mileage Club, and we have a quarter-mile track around our soccer field, and boys and girls are able to walk that, and if they accumulate 5 miles, which is 20 trips around that track, they earn a special foot. And we do give recognition to those boys and girls that walk 25, 50, 100 miles. We even had one child walk almost 200 miles at recess last year.
So is this popular with the children? Do you have much trouble persuading them to participate?
No trouble at all to persuade them to participate. In fact, they are always asking, when does the program start, when the school year begins? So it started in about mid-September, and it will run until the end of the school year.
We're in Salt Lake City talking with Dan Bergenthal, who's a transportation engineer for the city. What is your role in doing things that affect pedestrians in the city?
Well, they put me in charge of the pedestrian safety program here in Salt Lake City. I've been doing that for about 5 years now. So yeah, I pretty much head it up and organize things here.
And when you were first put in charge of it, what are some of the first things you did to try to get things going?
First thing we did was to create a committee composed of city staff. And we started meeting, actually at that time we started meeting weekly, and we sat down and discussed what we felt were the most important issues for pedestrians in the city, and then we just brainstormed about what we thought could solve those particular problems that we had. And the first thing that we came up with was one of our city council people had been on vacation and had seen orange flags up in Idaho. And so we thought we would try out the crosswalk flags here and see how well those worked.
What are crosswalk flags and how do they work?
Well, the crosswalk flag, very simple idea. You just have some flags that you place at both ends of a crosswalk. And when a person comes up to cross there, they grab a flag and hold it out and wait for the people to stop, and then cross and put it in the bucket on the other side, and that's it, essentially. Very simple. But the idea is to improve the visibility of the pedestrians by using, we use the orange flags because they're very bright and people can see them from a long ways away.
What sort of feedback did you get from pedestrians and drivers once you started putting these in place?
Initially, everybody thought it was a joke. A lot of people wouldn't use them. They were embarrassed to use them. When we had a press conference on it, the press essentially made a lot of jokes about it, and it was kind of fun. But what happened was people started using them, and they found out that these things really do work. And so after a while, after a month or two, we noticed a change, and everyone really started to like them. And now we're getting requests daily from more locations.
Now, how do you handle it when you start getting a lot of requests for something like this?
Well, that's a good question. What we initially did was we put them at all the mid-block crosswalks downtown. There are about 40 of them. And so the city put those out there, and we've been maintaining those. And then we started getting all these phone calls. And so we quickly realized that there was no way that we could possibly maintain crosswalk flags around the whole city. And so we got together with the Pedestrian Safety Committee again and talked about that, and decided that the best solution was to come up with a program where the people in the city could sponsor crosswalks. And then once they sponsored them, they would maintain them for us. And what we have done to help them out with the maintenance is that the city provides replacement flags for them at a very low cost. We subsidize most of the cost, and all they have to do is come down to the city and pick them up and pay that small cost. And so we've basically gotten the residents to maintain all these for us outside the downtown area. Right now we have about 170 locations where we have flags.
So do you have a name for this program, and the residents keep an eye on the flags?
Yeah, it's called the Salt Lake City Adopt a Crosswalk program.
Has it been working?
Works great. Yeah, we've got, like I say, we've got about 170 locations. That's about 130 of them are actually sponsored by residents. And we've noticed that when people get together with neighbors to help pay for these flags, that it's helped raise awareness in their neighborhoods, because now they're approaching them saying, hey, we're going to be doing this crosswalk, we're going to adopt it, we're getting these flags, and we would like you to help us to pay for these. And so, everyone pitches in 50 cents a month or 25 cents a month. And so now you've got the whole neighborhood thinking about these flags. And also, if someone walks up with a flag, you've got all the neighbors watching, and we've actually had residents run out of their house, grab the flag and say, hey, that's our flag, don't be stealing it, put it back. And so it helps cut down on the flag loss rate, which still seems to be pretty high for some reason, but it works great. The flags, they improve the visibility of the people when the car drives down the street. The driver will see out of the corner of his eyes the crosswalk flags in the holders. Even if the people aren't using them, the crosswalk just sticks out more because you've got that near peripheral vision, these big orange blobs, and so it just makes people more aware.
Wandering around Salt Lake City, I noticed you have quite a few countdown signals. What's the story on those?
Well, the countdown signals started about the same time as a little bit after the crosswalk flags. That was one of the things that we saw. Actually, we didn't see it in another city. We actually read about it, and we thought we'd give it a shot and see how it worked. We just did a couple locations initially because we just didn't have the funding for it. We put those in, and everybody liked them so much that the city council and the mayor's office got together and provided some funding for us. And so we took that funding and bought some additional counters, and we're at the point now where we have counters at every location in the city where we have pedestrian signals. So they worked very well for us. Salt Lake City has very wide streets. Typical is curb to curb, 80 to 100 feet, curb to curb. And so it takes quite a while to get across the street, and you're exposed for a long time. And with the wide streets, knowing how much time you have left really helps. Because if you stand there and say, well, I've got 15 seconds, and there's just no way I can cross the street, and so you'll just see people, they won't start crossing, and others, they'll come up to it and they'll say, okay, I've got 25 seconds, no problem, I can get across. And we've also passed an ordinance in the city which is unique, which allows people to begin their crossing during the time that the crosswalk timer is counting down, which is also the time that the hand is flashing. Typically you wouldn't allow people to cross during this time, but we feel that since now that we've empowered people by giving them this extra information, that they now can make an intelligent decision and will be able to know for themselves if they can make it across. If you come up to the street and you see that, okay, it's got 20 seconds left, I'm familiar with the area, I know that it only takes me 15 seconds to cross here, we allow them to actually cross if there's 15 seconds left. The ordinance states that, however, they have to be finished with their crossing by the time the countdown timer hits 0, and they have to do that without running.
At the crosswalks, you've done a couple different things with payment markings, one for pedestrians, one for drivers. First, what have you done for the pedestrians?
We have installed look symbols, and we got that idea from Europe. We noticed that at some locations they would have some kind of markings down on the roadway that the pedestrian would see that would tell them to watch out for vehicles. So we came up with the look text, and within the 2 circles for the O's, we put little eyeballs that are pointing left, and then we also have 2 arrows one pointing each direction. So the idea is that initially they'll look to the left because they've got an arrow and an eyeball pointing to the left, so hopefully they'll look that way first, and then they'll look to the right and look to the left again, and that's the idea, to help them look for cars before they cross. The second thing that we've done is we have what we call approach stripes, and we were talking one day in our group about runways, how they have the runway lights that kind of blink, showing their planes where the runway is, and we thought, well, why don't we do something like that for crosswalks, but we'll just use stripes. So we all got out, went out to one of the city streets, and we brought a bunch of striping equipment with us, and we laid it all out in different configurations, trying to figure out what would work best, and we came up with this kind of a triangular shape. It goes out, points toward the crosswalk, and so we stuck those out at a number of locations and got a lot of good feedback. People really like them, and we think that it really does help direct people's vision right at the crosswalk and draws their attention to it. So it's been quite successful so far.
And some of the things you're doing are quite low cost. Some of them take a little more money. What sort of guidance and support do you get from the political leadership?
Very supportive here. The mayor, that's one of his big things. When he first started out in his office, he witnessed a pedestrian accident, and since then he's really wanted to try and help make things better for pedestrians here. And also the city council, they're very supportive. Like I said before, they have actually provided funding for us to do a lot of this pedestrian safety work that we've done. So yeah, it's been great. Very supportive.
And looking into the future, I mean, beyond just the paint and the signals and so on, what's your ultimate goal? What are you trying to do for the city and the people of the city?
I think the ultimate goal, first of all, is trying to just reduce pedestrian-involved accidents. We never like to see any accident happen with a pedestrian, or any accident period, but especially with pedestrians, because if you're in an accident as a pedestrian, normally someone's going to get hurt, and that's usually the pedestrian. So that is our number one goal. And secondly, we'd just like it to be more walkable community. When you get these type of improvements out there, people just feel more comfortable, and it in the end gets more people walking, and that's really what we want here, is to make it a friendly community for everybody.
We're in Salt Lake City, talking with Sharon Briggs, who's the state bicycle and pedestrian coordinator. What does a bike and ped coordinator do?
I am the person who tries to, it works within the department to mainstream bicycle and pedestrian accommodations in our roadway projects. I also work with a lot of advocacy groups and try to take care of their concerns and needs on a as requested basis.
And recently you got a grant from the federal government you've been working with. Who gave you the grant and what's it for?
We did. Just about a year ago, we were awarded a $50,000 grant from NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The grant was to develop, we, along with our partners, Department of Health and the Highway Safety Office, applied. Our application was to develop a bicycle safety and a Share the Road campaign. Like I say, we were awarded that $50,000 grant, and we've been working on a couple of components there. One was a law enforcement action activity. We worked with 5 different law enforcement agencies in this action. It consisted of a one-day training for the officers. The actual enforcement was a decoy bicyclist, which was an officer, and a spotter, most often as an officer, and then a chase car. And these locations were decided prior to the activity. The decoy bicyclist would travel up and down a mile of roadway, and as they saw infractions either by a motorist or a bicyclist, the spotter would contact the chase car, who would then make the stop either, as I say, with a bicyclist or a motorist, kind of inform them what they had done wrong, and gave them a brochure as a educational tool, so that, you know, we're trying to educate. That was basically what the action was all about. We did ticket, or they did ticket. It was their option. They could ticket or give a warning, but regardless of that option, they always provided this brochure so that they were educated when the stop was completed.
What sort of infractions did they commonly encounter? What are bicyclists doing wrong? What are motorists doing wrong?
A lot of it was, you know, was cutting off somebody trying to make a turn, you know. A lot of bicyclists were not obeying the law and didn't stop at red lights completely, or, you know, try to get through those. Didn't stop at stop signs. Pretty normal things like that. Trying to encourage the courtesy for both modes of travel. Those were typical of what we'd find.
And when you have a targeted enforcement campaign like this, what's the role of the media?
We didn't have enough funds to have paid media, so the media that we got was newspaper articles and a little TV coverage when the enforcement activity was about to take place, and that helped. We were pleased with that, but if we had more funds, we would like to increase that media element, because it's all about educating the public.
Then you had a second aspect to the grant. What was that?
We did. Another pretty important element, we feel, is a driver education video that has just been completed and is now being placed in some pilot high schools. It'll be shown to the driver education classes, and it was done in a real creative, kind of fun, you know, something that teenagers are going to be interested in. It wasn't a lecture video. So we're hoping to get a lot of mileage out of that and try to get drivers as they're just beginning, so that they know how to share the road with bicyclists.
And as part of each of these, you have to do an evaluation. What sort of things do you look at when you evaluate these to report back to the grant givers?
The evaluations for the law enforcement action are just coming in from those agencies, and they're pretty standard. I think for the most part, they think they were successful. There's some discussion about, possibly changing locations if they were to do it again. Another priority, or it seems to be repeated with all of the agencies, is the need for visibility with the media. Maybe trying to find some additional funds and have some paid media to go along with that activity. And we haven't received evaluations on the driver ed video yet because that's just now being distributed.
And you have other ways of communicating with the public. If I was a bicyclist in Utah and was thinking of possibly using my bicycle for more practical trips rather than just on trails on the weekends, what help can you give me?
About a year ago, we just completed the Utah Bicycle Commuter Guide, and that's been really well received. We didn't originate a lot of the content. We got that from a firm, and I can't remember where it's from, but a Washington firm who allowed us, we bought the rights actually, and then we're allowed to kind of adjust it so that it met Utah needs. So we completed that about a year ago, and we had requests for a second printing. We make it available at all of the bicycle shops now, and it's also available online through the UDOT website.
We're in Albany, New York, talking with Joshua Popple, who's Executive Director of the New York Bicycling Coalition. What is the coalition?
The coalition is an advocacy organization that's been around for about 13 years now. Our mission is to promote safe and accessible cycling in New York State.
What are some of the biggest challenges to someone trying to cycle around the state?
Well, I think actually as facilities and infrastructure goes, New York is a pretty good state to ride in. We have decent paved shoulders. There's a lot of scenic natural resources. Some of the issues are more similar to what you see across the country, just general respect issues. There are certain places where access is limited. New York City has done a good job of trying to improve that and really working on their greenway system. But bridge access at times, depending on where you are, and really just general respect, I think, is key for a lot of cyclists.
How do you approach a problem like that, getting motorists to respect bicyclists?
Well, one of the major campaigns that we're working on right now is it's a grant program with Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, who administers the majority of the safety money in New York State. And the program that we started working on last year and we'll be working on for the next 2 years is a Share the Road training program. So we're bringing Share the Road information material to driver's education teachers so that they can integrate that into their driver's education trainings. And this goes to not only the first-time drivers that need to take a 6-hour class before getting their license, but it also goes to anybody taking a point insurance reduction program. So anybody who's going back, whether they've had a violation in the past or they're just looking to reduce their insurance rates, we want to bring this material to the people, to as many people as we can. And the best way for us to do that is to train the instructors who can then reach essentially all of their students.
What's new in what you're doing now that may have been missing in driver's education materials in the past?
There's just not a lot of focus on it. They have, like I said, put this chapter in the driver's handbook, but there's no real incentive for people to look at it. It's a first step. I think that information needs to be there as a reference point, but we really want it in people's heads. A couple of years ago, New York State passed a new law which governs the yield/right-of-way for pedestrians and crosswalks. And similar to the updating the driver's handbook, it's an important step, but the education, the publicity isn't out there. So while the law may exist, while it may be in the books, people don't know about it. And both for bicyclists and pedestrians, we think that that's one of the most important things. People need to know and understand the laws, otherwise that's where the compromised respect comes in.
What are some of the new initiatives you're working on at the moment?
Safe routes to school is a big one for us right now. The president signed the new transportation law back in August of this year, setting aside $612 million for safe routes to school over the next 5 years. And The initiative of that program is to get kids walking and bicycling to school, not only to improve health, but ideally also to give school districts a little bit more flexibility in their transportation funding. With gas prices, diesel prices going up these days, schools are spending a lot of money on transportation, on busing their kids. And with the Safe Routes to School program, it's focused on a 2-mile radius within, or with any elementary or middle school. So it sets up a program where you can not only educate but improve the infrastructure so that kids that have the option, that are within a short distance of school, may have that ability now to walk to school. So what the New York Bicycling Coalition is doing on that front is trying to work with DOT, the State Department of Transportation, who's going to be administering that money. We'd like to see it get out there as soon as possible. And we recently submitted a grant to them to bring the education component of it to the school districts, to start the publicity campaign, and also to work with some of the school districts, the local planning organizations, to really educate people what the money's there for and how it can best be used to create these safe routes to school.
Why is it important to have an education component and not just use all the money to build more sidewalks?
That debate has gone back and forth with Safe Routes to School with a lot of different programs. I think the education component is certainly equally important, if not more so, because it goes back to the whole respect and awareness thing. You can put sidewalks in, you can put crosswalks in. Sidewalks are good. I mean, seldom does the situation exist where having an additional sidewalk is going to be compromising a pedestrian environment. But certainly in the case of crosswalks, if people know the laws, if people know that there's this effort to create safer school zones, safer crosswalks, I think that that's really integral to people appreciating the program, and they're going to be they're more apt to slow down in the speed zone. They're more apt to be aware of the potential for kids in school zones and crosswalks near schools. So I think that without the education and also the encouragement, which is also an important aspect of it, the sidewalks alone are not going to do it.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.